here, but as soon as we started going on the road, like I noticed we all had the same kind of like, we're going to work, and then party.
Yeah.
On the trips.
Yeah.
It was grind, and then we'd have a nice like, go out with the team.
Well, for us, it's we fly in, and a lot of times, and this is like, I don't know if people realize it or not, this is how hectic it is. Like, the waves we surf, the consequences are so high. What our goal is when we're going is to push the limit of where the consequences get sketchier and sketchier, right? And we literally fly across the world uncomfortably, sitting on a plane, the worst thing you could do for your body, getting radiated. We oftentimes land in either same day or we land late at night and sleep a few hours and wake up to the day of the swell because we pulled the trigger so last minute. And so there's no partying before those swells. Like, we already feel like death going into those big days a lot of time. And so that's like, you do the travel, you get to the day, oh, you're scared you're going to die, you surf the day, you get epic waves, and then you get the whole adrenaline and endorphin release. And after that, you're like, I just went through the gnarest 3 days ever.
Crazy.
We need to crack a cold beer and like decompress a little bit.
Yeah, it honestly is. Drinking, I feel like, can be a good way to decompress from
after everything.
Things like that. Because I
There's,
remember, I mean, obviously we've done crazy missions like that, not partied.
Yeah.
And whatever. But I feel like when you do have that bit of release, you almost mentally feel better. At least I do.
I call it taking out the trash.
That's a good one. I like that.
I've never heard that.
You lose the brain cells that carried any of the trauma, and so you're like, I feel released after.
You're too stupid now to be traumatized.
You're no more capacity. Like,
all you
things
care
got
about
to be cleared out.
That's
Speaking of just life-threatening swells, do you ever have times when like you guys are filming us and like you see the session start to take a turn where the rev up is happening and you feel almost like, oh shit, like I've heard, I mean, it's no way comparison, like someone filming the rock climbers, the filmers are like, oh man, I'm terrified I'm going to film someone die right now.
No, I've been like that a couple times, but it's cool to see you guys like, you do like switch it on in certain points, because especially now with the vlog and in the beginning, I'm sure you can understand this, like filming the talking and like, okay, we're there, say it's a big Tahiti day and there's like, it's the maxing paddle day, and like filming you guys, now that you're comfortable with talking, you guys will be like so good. All of a sudden you get closer to the thing and you're just like, have this dead stare. And I'm like, okay, like give me a reaction, like what's up? And you guys are just waxing boards, like, and I'm like, okay,
the adrenaline,
you guys are already on. I'm like, then I just have to sit back and be like, okay.
It's called an adrenaline dump for a reason. Like, I literally feel it like just dump into my system.
Yeah.
And I can't really
that big paddle day, there was like I'm pretty sure you guys like didn't say much after, and you were just looking at the wave, and I'm pretty sure you jumped, and I was like looking at Koa, and you were just waxing your board, didn't say anything. I was like, oh, I needed like a couple more lines, and you just jump off. I was like, all right, like, okay.
Wait, what paddle day are you talking about?
That was the day before the trials.
That day was huge. I had
a
big crazy wipeout, and you got a crazy make that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see you guys kind of just be. But those kind of days, I'm like, kid, or filming or Mavericks, that was like the worst. Like,
and even like not necessarily us, but seeing other guys and them taking wipeouts. Are you ever like, did I just film someone die?
Yeah, that's the worst. Like the big wave stuff when I'm like, in middle of nowhere or out on a boat, and I'm like, please don't, like.
If it goes bad, it's gonna go really bad. Yeah.
But I always have these like weird feelings too. Like I'm like, we're just so in the mode and in the zone. Like it's all good. Like right now, you feel if it's gonna be wrong out there. Like, and I feel like you guys have like hung out and like chilled and waited. And
I feel like it's a trust. Like the whole group is in a trust that whether it's you or me or Koa, they're going to make the right decision, and they're going to make that decision and be prepared for the consequences.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not on anybody except that person. And like,
especially even the traveling part too, like it can go wrong traveling, like in a far country. And
totally.
Like, I feel like the crew is all like, we're solid in that point. Like,
you have to have the trust of the crew. Like they got you.
We're going to be okay.
Yeah.
That is crazy going to some of those places, just knowing like how gnarly not only the waves can be, but like
We're far.
like how gnarly
dude.
the people can be, or like
Yeah,
you
and-
could get into a really bad situation,
Yeah,
especially
fast.
with we're standing out with tons of board bags,
Standing out.
tons
Yeah.
of camera gear,
The gear.
and Jack usually has his hair bleached. And it's just like
bleached hair.
it's just like, oh
tons
god,
of
are we gonna get
cameras
attacked?
on me.
Like, are we gonna get robbed or whatever?
Yeah.
No,
So
yeah,
it is
for
nice
sure.
knowing like
There's
like
been a
having
couple
good
times.
crew to travel with.
Yeah, and
sketchy.
you
Yeah.
in a lot of these cases, your guy filming, or whether it's one of you guys or like had Mahina in Europe, like, which tripped me out because I was like, oh, Zord or Jack, like they're gonna jump in, you know, they're gonna grab you if you're
If it
knocked
was-
unconscious,
Yeah.
like you're out, like
Yeah.
that's your first responder is our
Is the
guys
people.
there to film and crew and part of the crew.
Yeah.
And some of the sessions in Europe, I was like, I just had Mahina on the beach, and I called the
was
session
gnarly.
early because I was like, you can handle it, but you're gonna be bummed, or
But
tripped
I'm
out,
like,
or Zord
go.
can handle it, but like my wife like having to try to grab me out of the water,
Yeah.
something wrong.
that's
So I was
no
like,
good. It's
maybe
no
no more
good.
surfing like solo, but just
Yeah.
going back to like the team and the trust, and like, even we should probably take that all a step further. Like we know CPR to some extent, but
We should get a little
travel
bit
with
gnarlier.
tourniquets. We should even have what is the shocker thing? The
Dude, like, remember? Do you remember your
What is
first
it when
trip you went on?
they
Like,
shock people.
Oh, the pad.
Yeah, like we
can
should
get
be.
those?
Yeah, we should
You
be
know that's
traveling.
gonna
Defibrillator.
you know
The
that's gonna turn
Defibrillator.
into
We should
something
be
funny.
traveling with those. Like
Yeah, we honestly should have a little better like
because
should
we
have
are
some
going to be our
bags.
own doctor in it when it comes down to it. We
And
should
learn
all know
how to
stitch
like just
everything.
stitch a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first trip you went on? What kind of like stuff you guys brought? Like safety gear? I remember I went to Indo and I was like to film a Quicksilver thing, and I had 3 vitamin C packets and like a pack of Band-Aids. And I was in the middle of it. I slept in a tent, and I like the guys down there were like,
That's good.
You might need a little more than that." And I was like,
Dude,
I got it.
the essentials are Advil, Imodium,
Yep.
Dude,
just because
Imodium.
it's not
Do
if,
not
it's when.
drink the water.
It's coming.
Fuck, dude, that is like the worst thing traveling. I think to third world countries is when you get one of those stomach bugs
Oh,
where you're just
so
like
bad.
it's just bad. You're both ends.
Do you remember in
Yeah.
Neos?
You were sick a
Between the
little
two
bit.
big swells?
Oh my
You were
god!
sick.
I blacked out for like 2 days in a
felt
fever.
so
I was
bad for
so
you.
worried about you, dude.
That
You
part
got
of that
so
trip,
sick.
I don't even remember. In my head, it's one long swell of the first days of the swell and then the massive day.
I
and the
think
trip
that's
ended.
everyone though. That was a
That was a
mind-bending
crazy
trip. That was too long.
That
Wherever
was
we
so
were.
weird.
Why
dude.
did we stay there
Strangest
for like
place.
10 days?
Well, the waves didn't stop
we-
getting good.
I was
No.
just like,
And you were sick on top of it in the worst place you could ever probably be sick.
Sweating.
you were
That was
so
gnarly.
sweaty. Nate was the sweatiest.
I woke up day of that trip. Day of the swell was the day I came out of the fever,
Nice.
and I was like, "We're on."
We're good. Here we go.
Biggest Neos we've ever
How big is it?
seen.
You look out, there's a boat going over the falls. You're like, I'm going.
That
No,
was
that was a
crazy.
crazy trip, man.